Picture this: two of Hollywood's most enigmatic souls, each carrying the weight of their own turbulent love stories, finding themselves drawn together in ways that nobody saw coming. The year is 2024, and whispers are spreading through the corridors of Tinseltown like wildfire. Angelina Jolie, the woman who once captured hearts as Lara Croft and changed the world as a humanitarian, is reportedly entranced by Johnny Depp, the man who sailed the seven seas as Captain Jack Sparrow and weathered one of Hollywood's most brutal public storms. But this isn't just another celebrity romance rumor. This is a story about two people who have been through hell and back, who understand what it means to be misunderstood, vilified, and then forced to rebuild their lives under the unforgiving glare of the spotlight. When sources close to both stars began speaking about a connection that goes deeper than anyone expected, it became clear that what we're witnessing might be something extraordinary, or perhaps something that was always meant to be. The first whispers began in the most unexpected of places. It wasn't at a glamorous Hollywood party or a red carpet event. Instead, it was during a quiet dinner at a small, intimate restaurant in London, far from the prying eyes of paparazzi. Angelina had been in the city working on her latest directorial project, a deeply personal film about war-torn families finding hope in the darkest of times. Johnny, meanwhile, was taking a much-needed respite from the chaos that had defined his life for the past several years, according to sources who were present that evening. The conversation between them flowed like old friends reconnecting after years apart. There was something magnetic about the way they looked at each other, not with the superficial attraction that defines so many Hollywood encounters, but with a profound recognition of shared experience. Here were two people who had both loved deeply, lost publicly, and emerged from their respective battles forever changed. Angelina spent the better part of the last decade navigating one of Hollywood's most contentious divorces. Her split from Brad Pitt in 2016 wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the dissolution of what the world had considered the perfect family. The custody battles, the legal wrangling, the constant speculation about her relationship with her children, it all took its toll on a woman who had once been fearless in her pursuit of justice around the globe. Those who know Angelina describe a transformation that took place during those difficult years. The woman who once threw herself headfirst into dangerous situations as a UN Goodwill ambassador became more cautious, more protective of her heart. She focused entirely on her children and her work, building walls that seemed impenetrable. Friends would often comment on how she seemed to have sworn off romance entirely, dedicating herself to causes greater than herself, as if love was a luxury she could no longer afford. Johnny's journey has been equally tumultuous, though played out on a very different stage. The man who gave us some of cinema's most beloved characters found himself at the center of a legal and public relations nightmare that would have destroyed lesser souls. The highly publicized defamation trial with his ex-wife Amber Heard wasn't just about clearing his name, which is about reclaiming his very identity as an artist and as a human being. For months, the world watched as intimate details of Johnny's life were dissected in courtrooms and splashed across headlines. Every text message, every recorded conversation, every moment of vulnerability was scrutinized by millions. Yet through it all, those closest to him saw something remarkable: a man who refused to become bitter, who found strength in his art, and who never lost his essential kindness despite everything he endured. The connection between Angelina and Johnny, sources say, began with their shared understanding of what it means to be misrepresented by the media. Both had experienced the particular cruelty of having their most private moments transformed into public entertainment. Both had felt the sting of being painted as villains in stories that were far more complex than any headline could capture. During that first dinner in London, they talked about their children, Angelina's 6 with Brad and Johnny's 2 with Vanessa Paradis. There was something deeply moving about watching these two parents, who had both fought so hard to protect their children from the spotlight, sharing stories about bedtime routines and school performances. It was in these quiet moments, away from cameras and speculation, that something genuine began to bloom. What makes this potential romance so compelling isn't just the star power involved, the timing. Both Angelina and Johnny are at points in their lives where they've learned the difference between love and infatuation, between genuine connection and Hollywood fantasy. They've both been through enough to know that real relationships are built on understanding, respect, and the ability to see each other's scars without flinching. Industry insiders, who have worked with both stars over the years, aren't entirely surprised by this development. They speak of Angelina's long-standing admiration for actors who fully commit to their craft, who disappear so completely into their roles that they transform not just themselves but everyone around them. Johnny, with his chameleonic ability to become everyone from Edward Scissorhands to the Mad Hatter, represents exactly that kind of artistic dedication. Similarly, those in Johnny's circle have always known of his attraction to strong, intelligent women who challenge him intellectually and emotionally. Angelina, with her Harvard education, her multilingual abilities, her deep understanding of global politics and humanitarian crises, represents the kind of depth and substance that has always drawn him in. But perhaps what's most intriguing about this developing story is how carefully both parties are handling it. Unlike the whirlwind romances that often dominate Hollywood headlines, this connection is being nurtured quietly, away from the chaos of public life. Sources describe long phone conversations that stretch late into the night, discussing everything from philosophy to their shared love of literature. They talk about Angelina's passion for archaeology and ancient civilizations, and Johnny's fascination with music and its ability to heal emotional wounds. There have been small, almost imperceptible signs for those who know what to look for. Angelina was spotted at a bookstore in New York, purchasing a rare edition of Jack Kerouac's On the Road, a book that Johnny has often cited as one of his most treasured possessions. Johnny, meanwhile, was seen leaving a gallery opening in Los Angeles, where several of Angelina's photographs from her humanitarian work were being displayed as part of a charity auction. These aren't grand public gestures designed to fuel speculation. Instead, they're the quiet acknowledgments that two people make when they're genuinely interested in understanding each other's worlds. It's the kind of courtship that belongs to an earlier era, when people took time to truly know each other before deciding whether they belonged together. The entertainment industry is watching this development with particular fascination because both stars are at such interesting points in their careers. Angelina has been increasingly selective about her acting roles, choosing instead to focus on directing and her humanitarian work. Her recent films as a director have shown a maturity and depth that suggests an artist coming into her full power. Johnny, meanwhile, has been slowly but surely rebuilding his career after the legal victories that cleared his name. His return to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise seems all but certain, and there's talk of several passion projects that he's been developing for years. The question everyone seems to be asking is whether two people who have been through so much public scrutiny can find genuine happiness together. The answer, according to those who know them best, lies in their shared understanding of what really matters. Both have learned to distinguish between the personas they present to the world and their authentic selves. Both have been humbled by experience and strengthened by adversity. Friends describe a lightness in Angelina that hasn't been seen in years. The woman who has carried the weight of the world on her shoulders, who has witnessed suffering in refugee camps and war zones, who has fought legal battles that would have broken lesser spirits, seems to be rediscovering joy. It's not the giddy excitement of a teenage crush, but something deeper, the quiet contentment that comes from being truly understood by another person. Johnny, too, seems to have found a peace that eluded him for years. Those who have worked with him recently comment on his renewed energy, his focus, his evident happiness. The man who once seemed to be drowning in legal troubles and public controversy has emerged with a clarity of purpose that's reflected not just in his personal life, but in his artistic choices as well. Of course, there are skeptics. Hollywood has seen its share of high-profile romances that burned bright and flamed out spectacularly. Some question whether two people with such complicated histories can really build something lasting together. Others wonder whether the very public nature of both their past relationships makes genuine privacy impossible. But perhaps that's exactly why this connection feels different. Both Angelina and Johnny have lived through the experience of having their love lives dissected by the media. They understand the importance of protecting something precious from the harsh light of public scrutiny. They've learned to value authenticity over image, substance over spectacle. There's something almost poetic about the possibility of these two finding each other at this stage of their lives. Angelina, who has spent years advocating for the world's most vulnerable people, and Johnny, who has always been drawn to characters who exist on society's margins, share a deep empathy for those who don't fit conventional molds. They've both been outsiders in their own ways, and perhaps that shared experience of being misunderstood has created a bond that transcends typical Hollywood romance. Industry observers note that both stars have reached points in their careers where they can afford to be selective, not just about their projects, but about how they spend their personal time. The days of mandatory appearances and publicity stunts are behind them. They can choose to keep their private lives private, to nurture a relationship away from cameras and commentary. The timing seems almost miraculous when you consider their individual journeys. Angelina's children are reaching ages where they require less constant supervision, giving her more freedom to explore personal relationships. Johnny has finally emerged from the legal battles that consumed years of his life, with his reputation restored and his future secure. They're both in positions where they can choose love over career advancement, genuine connection over strategic partnerships. What sources find most remarkable is how naturally they seem to complement each other. Angelina's intensity and passion for justice paired with Johnny's artistic sensitivity and emotional depth creates a dynamic that feels both powerful and balanced. Where she brings focus and determination, he brings creativity and intuition. Where he brings humor and lightness, she brings purpose and direction. Their conversations, according to those who have witnessed them, range from the profound to the playful. They can discuss the complexities of international law one moment and debate the merits of various guitar techniques the next. Both are voracious readers. Both speak multiple languages. Both have experienced enough of the world to appreciate both its beauty and its darkness. Perhaps what's most telling is how their respective children have reportedly reacted to this development. Both Angelina and Johnny are devoted parents who would never pursue a relationship that might harm their families. The fact that this connection is being allowed to develop suggests that it's passed the most important test of all, the approval of the people who matter most in their lives. As we watch this story unfold, it's impossible not to hope that two people who have given so much to the world through their art and activism might finally find the personal happiness they deserve. Whether this connection develops into something lasting or remains a beautiful moment of understanding between two kindred spirits, it represents something we rarely see in Hollywood: genuine human connection based on mutual respect and shared experience. The entertainment world will continue to speculate, to analyze every sighting and interpret every gesture. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this story is how little it seems to matter to the two people at its center. They've both learned that real love doesn't require validation from strangers. that genuine happiness can't be measured in headlines or social media engagement. In a town built on illusion and fantasy, Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp represent something rare and precious: the possibility of finding authentic connection in the most unlikely of circumstances. Whether their story becomes one of Hollywood's great love affairs or simply a chapter in two remarkable lives, it reminds us that even in the fishbowl of celebrity, the human heart continues to seek what it has always sought: understanding, acceptance, and the incomparable joy of being truly seen by another soul. As the curtain falls on this particular act of their lives, we're left with a sense of possibility, of hope, and of the enduring power of human connection to transcend even the most challenging circumstances. In a world that often seems divided by difference, their story suggests that sometimes the most unlikely people can find in each other exactly what they've been searching for all along.